for the delay. So thanks a lot for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here and share my experience on the on applying for the Athena SWAN award. It's very nice that there are events like this one that are always useful to share some best practices and help the Athena SWAN champions to apply for the award. Okay. So a little bit of background of our school. This is a picture of our female academics. We are holding a silver award since 2013, and we also hold the Institute of Physics Juno champion status since 2014. If there are people in physics that want to know more about this, let me know. This is due to renew in 2021. And usually when there is an Athena SWAN award alongside the Juno champion application, then the application is quite straightforward because the Athena SWAN and Juno initiatives align themselves in their principles, and therefore once you have one, you can apply easily for the other one. We applied May 2020, and we are actually waiting for the outcome. Probably in the next few days, we are gonna get the outcome. So we are anxious about what's gonna happen. Our school is split into two subjects, maths and physics. So in our application, we try to split as much as possible data for students and data for staff into math and physics, because there are different issues and that apply to the different areas. And this is a picture of the a table of the population. You can see that there is a majority of male students and staff, and as time progresses, the percentage of female go down. There are two exceptions. One is the postgraduate thought. So PGR is PhD students, research staff includes postdocs and fellows, and PSS, this is professional support staff, and this is the other exception. So the two exceptions are the PGT, and I will tell you later about this, and the other is PSS, where when there is a balance of gender. This is our self-assessment team and the structure of the Gender Equality Committee. We have two co-chairs. One is the Athena SWAN champion, and the other one is the Juno champion. And in the SAT, we have two working groups. We have a student working group, which comprises all the students, so undergraduate and postgraduate representatives, director of education, chair of the recruitment and outreach panel, postgraduate director, and so on. And in the staff, instead, we have postdocs, head of school, deputy head of school, school manager, so head of administrative staff, and we have technical and clerical representatives. And the self-assessment teams participates to other committees in the school, in the university, and even outside the university. So we are part of the school board, where we give a general report every year. We are part of the school education committee, of the school management board. There is a Queen's SWAN Champions Network, where we participate every 6 weeks. We have a meeting. And there is a faculty gender equality network, and we're also part of a UK and All Ireland Juno network as well. And okay, so one important part of our of the self-assessment team is the budget. We have an annual budget which is reviewed every year, and this supports all the activities and events that we run every year. Okay, right. So I was asked to share some of the good practices that we have implemented, that we have included in our next action plan. So regarding students, one of our top priority is the so-called unconscious bias training for students and staff. So in the previous years, we only had awareness sessions for unconscious bias, while now, for the first time, we managed to deliver a workshop on unconscious bias. This was a 45 minutes workshop for first-year undergraduate students during their induction day. So this was in our action plan, and this was actually very important to deliver this year. Then we have other policies that we introduced throughout the years. For example, we have a policy for small group tutorials, where no groups will have an individual of a single gender. So you should at least have 2 female students or 2 male students, but not 1 female student only. It's possible to have a group of all females or all male students. And students can request personal tutors or advisor of studies of gender of their choice. We now include gender equality at all our recruitment events for high school students, for example, and in marketing material. Here you see one example of what I was talking about before of a postgraduate taught MSc in data analytics. So this was proposed as an action in our previous action plan because it emerged that, that an MSc in data analytics would increase the population of female students. And this is what happened. And this is what you saw in the previous slide for the data of the female students in MSc, which is even larger than male populations. And the number of students enrolled in this program doubled every year in the last 3 years. So we have a lot of students now and a lot of female students. And this increased the population of female students of all the schools, so contributed a lot to this. We run a series of events throughout the year for students. One example here you can see is Girls in Maths, which is for high school students. This was in 2019. Unfortunately, in 2020, we couldn't run Girls in Maths with other events. So we are hoping to organize something like this soon online, perhaps. And accidentally, today is Ada Lovelace Day. And we have an event starting in 1 hour online, organized by our PhD students. Right, regarding good practices for staff, we deploy an annual survey for all members of the school. We have 4 surveys which are specifically tailored for PhD students, postdocs, professional and support staff, and 1 for academics. So there are 4 surveys with different questions each. We run, and the survey is one of the most important sources of information for the Athena SWAN application. We have a lot of data coming out, and we analyze every year. We do it every year because we want to see if there are issues that emerge, and in this way address them in time, in a timely fashion. So we don't do the survey every 3-4 years. This was some years ago. We used to have the survey every 3-4 years, but then we decided to have it every year, which is a lot of work, of course, during the year. Again, we run some events for staff, like International Women's Day in March. Early in January, we had a mental health training, and we used to have school breakfast every 2 months. Now we cannot run this anymore. These were nice events where academics and professional staff could mingle together and have breakfast together and chat and get to know each other. We have other policies which, of course, are also embedded into university policy, like female representation on recruitment panels. We are trying to implement a childcare fund. This is for people coming to our school to have an interview, for example, for a post, for a job, or for our academics going to give a talk at an international conference before the pandemic, of course. And this is a funding for support for childcare during the interview or during the talk. However, this is proving actually challenging because we have problems with the financial office. They're having difficulties in justifying these expenses for tax purposes. So this is challenging. We are trying to address this problem. We encourage and support promotion applications. In our school, there is only 1 female professor in mathematics. in statistics, and there is no professor in physics. So we hope that our support will actually increase the number of female academics at a senior level. And we do advertise opportunities for career breaks, flexible working, etc., etc. We launched recently an initiative called the Safe Harbors, which is in response to a PhD survey regarding professional misconduct in the work environment. And these are 4 academics from 4 different areas that are there to listen to concerns and signpost university procedures, policies, etc., in the areas of bullying and harassment, professional misconduct, mental health and well-being, work-life balance, etc. So in principle, these are people that are different from the usual line management structure. So if someone has a problem with their line manager or with the head of school, perhaps, they can go to the safe harbors and find a solution to these issues. So this will be extended to professional and support staff next year. So regarding PSSs, professional and support staff, as I said, they are represented in the SAT, the clerical and technical staff. There is a specifically tailored annual survey addressing specific issues for them. They have an annual budget for training and development opportunities. This is very important for their career progression. We do support them, encourage and support applications for the Aurora program, which is for advancement of career in for female staff. They organize an annual away day usually. So this year we're going to see whether we are going to organize these online. These are all opportunities for improving the work environment, and from the survey, these are always very well appreciated. There is no formal way of being promoted for a professional support staff. So we are lobbying from the Athena SWAN of our school and from the Athena SWAN group in the university to find alternatives to promotion. And this is in the form of permanent regrading or movement within the school and university so that people can effectively progress in their career. So this is an important issue for them. Right, I've been asked to answer some questions. What you wish you knew at the start of applying for a silver award? It's a huge task. I think that one person writing the application is not enough. You need at least 2 people writing the application, but then all the key members of the school should support the application. They have to provide data, ideas, and actions, and they have to take responsibility for these actions. So this is, for example, head of school, head of department, or head of teaching, etc. Data analysis is an enormous effort. You need to start as soon as possible. I understand that these schools are applying in the next months. It's important to start the data analysis as soon as possible, do the tables, do them in a consistent way in order to show the issues and the way you solved the issues. And something else is for the Silver Award and for the Gold Award to include more analysis and actions on professional and support staff. How to show impact in a Silver application? Show data and numbers for each statement you give in the application, so be quantitative. For any issue that you find, create an action, design an action, and in the application, refer to the action plan. And then this was to use infographics and icons. This was a nice suggestion from the Queen's Gender Initiative. So we use icons like these ones. And for example, this one is the impact icon that we use whenever we have an impact point in the application. This will be on the side. And also we have icons like this one for actions in the action plan. Engagement in the Athena SWAN, as this enhanced since the starting of the process? Yes, this is measured by our annual survey. So here you can see that the awareness of gender equality increased and there is a balance between men and women. And what happens if actions haven't met the targets? So try to be honest, explain the reason why, if this is known, identify the issue and then plan for the future. Regarding ethnic diversity, we haven't included anything in the application. Numbers are too small, but the university as a whole, as a program. And I come to the last slide. I hope I'm still in time. I see Rory is appearing, so I'm almost done. So just a few suggestions. So keep your website updated. You need the support of the school senior management. So the Athena SWAN champions can analyze issues, identify actions and propose actions, but ultimately it's the responsibility of the department senior management to support these and implement these actions. In this sense, we have to recognize the role of SWAN champions as a major admin role. And finally, Athena SWAN is primarily about gender equality. So it's true that it's possible to identify issues like work-life balance, mental health, well-being, etc. But the Athena SWAN responsibility is with the gender dimension of these issues. So it's not a place for putting all the responsibilities of all the fields in the school or in the department into the Athena SWAN. Athena SWAN is primarily on gender equality. And with this, I thank you for your attention.
Gabriele, thank you so much for that. You'll see that even one of the comments really likes your presentation. One of the people really likes your presentation. The use of infographics and icons is something that's a takeaway certainly for me as well. And you were almost clairvoyant in terms of some of the questions that you anticipated from the audience.
Right.
There are a couple of other ones that I just wanted to maybe ask you in the short time that I've got. You mentioned that Safe Harbour initiative, which sounds really, really interesting. And the question from somebody in the audience is, are the members of that group part of the school? You know, are they colleagues within the school, or are they coming from outside your school?
Yes, they are from our school, and they were nominated by PhD students. They were nominated and voted by PhD students through an anonymous survey. So this is how we started. And yes, so they are from our school, but they are from 4 different groups: maths, theoretical physics, some part of experimental physics, etc. So the idea is that if someone has an issue and they are not comfortable discussing that with their direct line manager, they can talk to someone who's going to be completely external to any issue that is happening. Yeah. And there is a similar initiative also at the university level. The university level is also doing some advisor like this.
Just out of curiosity, is it that just for PhDs, or is it for all colleagues within the school, Gabriele?
So for the moment, it's for PhD students, postdocs, and academics. And next year we are going to implement. So this was a pilot year, and next year we hopefully going to do it for professional support staff as well.
Okay, great. I mean, I just have time for one other question. It's a really easy one. What's the most challenging thing about applying for a silver award in the application process?
Personally, as a person that went through the process, I think the data analysis is really, really tough. It's a lot, and you need to be consistent, and there are many, many plots, diagrams, and histograms you have to put. And collecting the data for me was quite daunting. I had data coming from several sources, centrally, locally in the school, the annual survey, etc. And sometimes you don't have control on this. And of course, then trying to show impact in the application. I think this was also something quite challenging. Yeah.
Just with the impact, Gabriele, is that looking back at your last application, for example, and looking at what you achieved there or not, as the case may be?
You mean from the application we just applied, or?
Just, you know, I suppose it's just in terms of impact. So, for example, in our university, we would set some we have a lot of targets within our current gender equality action plan. And when we're looking at, you know, in the future applying for silver, can we look at those targets that we set in our current plan, measure against those?
Yes, exactly. So in the newest application, although you are not supposed to to put all the old action plan, so these were the newish rules, we were encouraged to make reference to some of the actions from our action plan. This is where we showed impact, quantitative impact, right? So we wanted to show numbers, for example, in terms of number of students, or in the survey, whether the appreciation of some issues was actually resolved and awareness was increased, etc., etc. Yes, something like this.
That's absolutely great, Gabriele. And again, another really good presentation. Hopefully you'll be able to share that with everybody that attended today. I think I got everything bar one question. So.